Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is All in the Charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. I see everyone's hitting the thumbs up button, which is nice. Drop me a comment. You got to click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. That was pretty sweet, right? Nice sound effects. For this daily live stream, this thing they call All in the Charts. You can't believe I've been doing this for more than 6 months now. It's been a long time. I mean, for me, 6 months to stay at this, pretty good. Helps to be single. Cheers. It does help. I hope everyone is having a nice day. I've been having a nice day. Extremely busy. Thrown for a little loop at the end of the day. Got an email there from a coworker, read it, and was a little discouraged by the email. But we're going to have a little powwow tomorrow morning, so everything's going to be all right. Black Oil is in the house. Welcome in, everybody. A lot of ridiculously crazy things going on in the market right now. Not really. No, there's really not. Not a lot has changed. We're going to take a look at the markets and have an honest conversation. Make sure, I'm actually going to be recording this video, finishing it up at least, after the live stream. Make sure that you do look for a very important update on Bitcoin. I'm going to put a video out there. Should be published by tomorrow, so make sure you check out that. I'm also working on a Digibyte video as well for my Digibyte community. Hoping to get that out Thursday. Latest would be Friday, but I'm hoping to get that out by Thursday, so make sure to keep an eye on that as well. Good to see DJ in the house. Good to see Ned here as well. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Ned's kicking right off with a couple tickers here. Gaming hype back on. I'm not sure. I haven't been in tune really too much with the markets today, to be honest with you. But I've kind of spoken to this in the past that I do think some good gaming plays will be some high risers. When we do top, I think that's a big opportunity for crypto. I know that despite all the craziness going on with the founders of Gala Games, I still think that project has a really strong community and has a really good chance of performing extremely well going into next year with the rest of the altcoins that I see. When we do see the altcoin expansion taking place. Anybody up to anything new and exciting this week? Any fun adventures? Anything I don't know? Anything crazy going on? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you got going on. By the way, still have that fasting thing going on where it's really not too much of a change in diet for me, but finished up my eating today a little bit later than I wanted to, more towards 4:30. But really been trying to keep my eating where it ends at right around 3:30, 4 o'clock. So, and then I just have a little bit of something to put in my stomach before I work out in the mornings. I might ingest something to eat around like 6:30, just a little bit. And then I really have my full, post-workout meal, depends when I get back here. Sometime generally around 10 or 10:30, somewhere around there. So definitely going a longer period of time without eating. So just based on some things I've read there. By the way, Ned, we can certainly take a look at VRA and SLP. Guys, if you want to drop... glad to hear you're well, DJ, by the way. I see your comments. If you want to drop some ticker symbols that you want to take a look at with me in the crypto markets, feel free. If you want to, diverge from the crypto markets and take a look at traditional equity markets, I'm happy to chart anything out in traditional equity markets as well. So feel free to just start dropping ticker symbols in here, and we'll take a look at it. Congratulations, DJ. Congratulations. I am looking forward to, at some point, divesting more of my investments outside of crypto. I am pretty balls to the wall in crypto right now, but I definitely want to educate myself. I've spoken about the real estate market. I definitely want to educate myself on other markets out there where I could divest a little bit more and diversify my assets and invest in a different way moving forward. I'll always be in the crypto space. That's not going to change. But I definitely want to get into more markets and be more educated on other markets as well. FET, yes, we can take a look at FET. Absolutely, black oil. Bitcoin, nothing has changed here. Got a watch list going on, seeing a lot of red. And again, the thing, by the way, quick fun fact for myself, I reopened, okay? I had an Interactive Brokers account years ago, and I haven't used it. I really haven't used it much at all. Well, I haven't used it at all in the past several years. Ever since I got into crypto, I really just focused on crypto. I reopened it. Why did I reopen my Interactive Brokers account? The reason that I reopened my account, it was actually mainly driven by the fact that I'm actually looking to establish a position in GameStop. I might start to get into some more equity trading, swing trades, at some point here in the shorter term. But anyway, I was looking at GameStop, and this is a stock that I brought up to you guys before. Of course, we had this monumental rise in price. Everybody knows about that gamma squeeze that took place. I thought it was 2020. For some reason, I was thinking it was 19, but it was right around the beer virus. Ever since then, one could argue we're in a bull pennant. Okay, this is a flagpole. This is a pennant. Just even if you don't agree with that assertion, I don't really could care less, because we also have a falling wedge. So I had identified this yellow zone here, which we actually have hit. So if I can get into GameStop in this $14 area, I would be a buyer. And we're also coming down on the monthly towards the 200 simple moving average at 11 bucks. If we go to a 2-weekly chart, let's see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, we're hitting the 200 simple moving average on the 2-week. This is Heikin-Ashi candles. If we go to the 1 week, we're probably below. Yes, we are. So this would be something that would be very interesting to me. Of course, we could always fall out of this. Maybe we fall down lower here to 10 bucks, but I would be a buyer in this $14 area personally. So looking to potentially establish a position in GameStop. So I'll keep you guys updated. If I do enter a position, I'll let you know. But drop your comments on any crypto tokens you'd like me to take a look at, as well as traditional equity ticker symbols as well. You can see the DXY hovering right around 107. NASDAQ was down pretty big today at 1.8%. NASDAQ 1.3, 1.3. We'll take a look at the major stock indices more towards the end of the week. And again, I'm not looking for confirmation bias. I don't listen to other people in the space. Let me share something with you. This is actually something pretty material I wanted to share with you guys. For those that listen to Alessio Rastani, I don't listen to other people for confirmation bias. I listen to other people's opinions whom I respect in this space, whether they're similar or dissimilar. One technician and one person who evaluates the charts, whose opinions I respect, this is the daily here on Bitcoin, Alessio Rastani. And if you're not following Alessio Rastani, I would encourage you to look him up on YouTube and give his videos a try. He's someone whose technical analysis, I've commented on a lot of his videos. He's actually replied back to me. Here's a guy I'd love to get on the channel. I think he's a little bit too big to get on the channel, but he'd be cool to get on the channel. Here's someone whose opinions quite oftentimes I have agreed with. And then there have also been times I've disagreed with his viewpoints on things. For me, it was a little reassuring. I was just on the phone with my parents today, actually, and I reaffirmed with them, I would never give my parents financial advice. I never give any financial advice, never on this channel, never to my family or anyone. But I said nothing on my viewpoint in terms of these major indices hitting new all-time highs this year, potentially as late as early next year, has changed for me. Nothing has been invalidated in those charts. We've simply just had a pullback because we've had a tremendous run, but there's no price levels I've spoken to in prior live streams that have been invalidated that leave me feeling otherwise. It's just what happens for most people is these emotions take over, especially when you have such a significant run in these major indices. When you get the pullback, people that don't know what they're doing, people that are emotionally invested, and quite frankly, people who maybe have more risk exposure than they otherwise should, they start to get really knee-jerk reaction to the market, right? Well, I was listening to a video from Alessio Rastani, and I'm not sure the price levels he spoke to. I was more listening to it than watching it. But he published a video, I believe, on Saturday. At least that's when I listened to it, on Saturday morning, before I crushed deadlifts on Saturday. And his viewpoints seem to be mirroring mine. That essentially, and his viewpoints on the DXY, by the way. So it's reassuring to me that there's somebody out there who has a lot more experience than me, who's very well educated, who has similar viewpoints to me. He thinks the dollar, until it proves that it's is going to see that major correction, he still thinks that the dollar had its parabolic run and we're in a corrective formation within the DXY. It's gone a little higher than he suspected. That kind of matches up with what I've said. He's also expecting the stock market to hit new all-time highs later this year or as late as early next year, which, again, maps up to how I feel. So based on what I'm seeing in the charts, not emotions, just the data. So really reassuring that someone, again, whom I respect, who is very well regarded in the industry as well, he's a pretty well-known individual, feels similar to how I'm feeling right now. Now, again, just taking a look, and I'll get to your comments in a moment. This is the Bitcoin daily, and as I said yesterday, you can see we're having more follow through the downside. I saw a poll up. I'm not sure who had the poll on Twitter, but it's not surprising that based on this sort of price action and a fall and a rise and a fall and now a rise and a fall and now another rise, a lot of people, based on this poll that I saw, which isn't surprising, think we're just going to roll over again. Not surprising because, again, most of the market is filled with emotional retail investors, right? And actually the emotions do make up this chart. So it's fair to say this chart actually does reflect a lot of retail sentiment. But the thing that people fail to see, at least if you're not watching CBG, the thing that people fail to see is this bounce is different. This bounce is different. And the reason the bounce is different is this descending resistance was invalidated right here, okay? So until we start breaking below on a candle body closing basis, the 50 simple moving average on the daily, because it's right in line with the descending resistance. You see how this black descending resistance, black oil, is in line with the 50 simple moving average at about 26,500. Until you start seeing candle body closes on a daily going below the $26,500 area, nothing is changing for me. Because, again, I just said this yesterday. We could come all the way down here. We could wick below here. As long as we close up in this general area, we could springboard off of here and go up. Now, I'm not saying that we're going as low as 26,500, but I am... what I'm attempting to illustrate for you right now is how low could prices go on a candle body closing basis for my bullish thesis to remain intact that we're going to continue going higher. And so what that also implicitly is telling you is that it also tells you when I would get bearish, and the bounce was really just a dead cat bounce and we're going to roll over, if we get candle body closes roughly below the 50 simple moving average at 26,500. Until then, we're getting a pullback right now. And again, I would also encourage you guys, just one last time here, if you weren't on the live stream yesterday, just very, very quickly, don't lose sight of the macro perspective here. This is really the bigger picture perspective. We had a monumentally bullish candlestick on the weekly close. We have to wait to see how this weekly candlestick is going to close, right? We just want the red body to thin out a bit. Doesn't need to turn into a green candlestick. I just want the redness of this body to kind of thin out. And again, I'll hit on this on the video that I'm going to publish that you guys will see tomorrow. But this weekly close here in particular, really the combination of these three candlesticks here, the combination of these candlesticks here ending with the most predominant candlestick, this really thick green candlestick here on the weekly, this has really helped to begin to clear up some of the muckiness we've been seeing in some of those weekly charts I've spoken to for the month of September that have really left me feeling a little bit cautious about price and that we could see some more significant downside. It's really started to clear up some of those charts, not to mention the fact that it really helped with the monthly close for September. So we'll get into that in that video. And then lastly, just real quick, wanted to touch on Caspa. I kind of find it humorous that so many people are calling for these major corrections in Caspa. And the point is not to say, I'm not egotistical, okay? I'm an extremely humble individual. I recognize that we could see a 50% or more pullback here. But again, based on all these charts I'm sharing with you guys, I don't see any reason to believe that there's going to be some sort of a significant pullback. And what I was trying to illustrate in an earlier tweet today is it's interesting that when you have an asset like this that is so fundamentally sound, if you actually study the project, okay, and the fundamentals, and you look at the chart and the technicals are also just monumentally bullish, it's just amazing that people are just seemingly in this disbelief stage that we can't just continue going higher. There's no big warning flags that are being signaled to me in these charts. If there were, I would be the first out here putting out a video speaking to it. There isn't. So again, I think that even if we do get some sort of a pullback, it's not going to be a major pullback, and we're going to see continued movements to the upside. Now, obviously, some of that's going to be steered by the overall general market. If you do see some unexpected move in Bitcoin, Caspa would follow suit with that and have a little bit of a higher degree of volatility associated with it. But again, even when you go to that Caspa BTC relativity chart, that tells you that even if we see a 20% move down in Bitcoin, wouldn't expect to see anything monumentally different in Caspa. So keep an eye on Caspa. I've accumulated a significant amount at this point. I don't know that I'm going to accumulate anymore because I have a shit ton at this point. At least for me, that's subjective, right? So we're going to get into some of your TA questions. Drop me a comment if you haven't already. Introduce yourself. If you're new to the live stream and you're kind of just checking it out for the first time, holla at your boy, CBG. Or if you're returning like DT, because I know DT's sipping his morning coffee, checking out, feel free to drop in and say hi. I like hearing from you guys. Let's see, what else do we have here? So have a couple TAs, a couple charts we're going to take a look at here. Dice Pineapple is new to the channel. Glad to have you in here. I'm trying to learn, but a lot of people keep saying there is bearish divergence on a weekly chart. Have we invalidated this now? Yeah, we can take a look at that. Of course, my weekly view on Caspa, Dice Pineapple, if you did check out... if you did check out my last two videos, you will note that I spoke to the fact that when Caspa, has a candle body close, okay, above, and all we can use, here's the thing, I want you to understand, everyone should understand this for if you've been a frequent subscriber here or viewer here, but Dice Pineapple, you have to understand, my role as a technical analyst is to unemotionally evaluate the empirical data. This is all I have, right? I'm just evaluating this data as I would at work, just in my day job, okay? It's the same thing. I'm evaluating the data, and I'm trying to come up with everything that we have here, a hypothesis on what is most and least likely. So one correlation I found within the channel, one positive correlation that I found within this weekly view is price appreciation, positive price appreciation, positively correlated to a candlestick close above the 10 simple moving average on the weekly, right? Every single time we've seen these significant rises in price. Now you can see we got this rise in price here, okay? The candle body close here the week of the 4th of September. So far, we've only gone up roughly 42%. Now that kind of doesn't line up with what we've seen in the past, right? 200, 600, and 150, right? Could we roll over and see a 30, 40, 50% correction? Yeah, it's a possibility. But again, I don't see anything in this view or other views that I've evaluated with you guys, even the lower time frames I've pointed out to you guys. I pointed out significance in the 4-hour chart. And I know that's a lower time frame, there's not a lot of price history on Caspa. I've pointed out the significance, some things on the 4-hour chart. I've pointed out some significance on the 2-day chart, and even the 3-day chart, okay? Is there bearish divergence on the RSI? Now, keep in mind, before we talk about the RSI, I want you to keep in mind, there is no one price indicator and no one chart that's going to tell you definitively what's going to happen. In this case, there is bearish divergence on the RSI. Why do I say that? The RSI is higher here, lower here, and lower here, and yet the price is going higher, right? Is this a caution flag? Yeah, sure, it is. It is a caution flag. But what I would also say is there's about 3, 4, 5 other data points that I'm pointing to that are all bullish. So if you're weighing the odds of probabilities and you're saying, well, there is bearish divergence on a higher time frame here, which is nothing to take lightly. It is something to make note of. It could end up playing out such that we do get a correction, right? But then you really have to ask yourself, how deep of a correction are you really going to see, right? In this case, one of the things that I would use here before you start really considering and putting in your buy limit orders in the 2 cent area, which I don't see happening, before you consider doing that, one of the things I would consider you or ask you to consider is when we've been above the 10 simple moving average, before we've made monumental moves, and this is a great example here, this price wick, there's no reason we can't wick all the way down to this price level, right? Right at the 10 simple moving average and also a little bit below it. And that's something I evaluated already in my prior TA video, so you can go to that. So that certainly is a possibility we could wick down lower to the mid to low 4 cent range, okay? I even threw out the possibility if we got a significant pullback in Bitcoin, we'd go all the way back down to the golden buy zone I communicated to you guys a couple months ago. That's really the lowest possible price area I see Caspa going. I don't see it going much. If we do have a significant correction, I don't see it going below roughly the 3.2 cent area. But again, my main hypothesis is we're going to see a significant move up. And I've kind of projected that here and spoke to it in my video, so you can check that out. Now, let's see. I want to get to some other questions here. We spent a lot of time talking about Caspa, so I want to move on to other projects here. Great question, DJ. I've hit on this before. So I would say that I have to say this. If the chart does not look good, I'm not going to put anything in it, okay? But the size of my position will be significantly increased if a project has both the fundamentals, if I've done my research on the fundamentals and I like what I'm seeing, as well as the technicals. But the technicals matter a lot to me because at the end of the day, technicals rule to me. But if I find a project that has a sexy chart, Caspa is actually a great example. The thing that really intrigued me about Caspa, and I, not meaning to go back to Caspa again, but I mean it's a great example. I saw a lot of attention on Twitter, started picking up on it. I went to the chart and I said to myself, well, based on the chart alone, this thing looks beautiful. So I definitely want to throw some percentage of my portfolio at Caspa just based on the chart alone. The chart looks beautiful. Then I started reading about the fundamentals, and that's what really got me excited, and that's what caused me to ultimately say, well, the fundamentals are real strong, the technicals are real strong, I'm going to start investing a significant chunk in here. So it's kind of both. Charts rule to me, though. This is all in the charts, everybody. I am saying everything is all in the charts. Oof, let's fucking go. Evan, don't say that. Evan, don't say that, man. Don't. If you really feel like this market is deteriorating your mental health, you got to ask why, in all seriousness. You either have way too much exposure and you shouldn't have this much exposure in the market, or maybe, Evan, you just need to take a break. And I hate to say to take a break even from this channel, because I'm hopeful everyone will tune in as often as they can or catch this in syndication, not even if it's live. But maybe you just need to take a break from crypto in general. Just get off my channel, get off other channels, and just get some clear headspace for yourself. No, Evan, I'm not sure what you mean. Caspa does have a 1 billion market cap. I'm not sure where you're coming up with 15 million. Okay, let's get into the charting questions that you guys have. So I'm going to go in reverse order here. I'm going to start off with Fetch AI. Fet. You're welcome, Dice Pineapple. You're welcome, my friend. Now you can see I'm speaking to some fib targets up here, up in this $4 to $7 range, which would be, pulling a 20x, 20, 30x would be nice from current levels. So a couple things. It doesn't look like too much has changed. Let's get this fib extension stuff off. Not too much has changed since we last evaluated this chart. This is a weekly. You can see our green areas of support and red areas of resistance. I don't need to read them off to you. Black oil, you can kind of check those out yourself. You can see, excuse me, got a yawn there. I've been feeling tired. Past 2 days I woke up. You can see, I even got good sleep this weekend. I wasn't out that late. You can see descending resistance here has been, it's sort of wanting, you can draw this descending resistance a couple different ways, based on how the chart, do you ever do that? Do you ever start off a sentence and use like a preface word, you preface your sentence by using a word that you know is already implicitly understood? I always say to be honest. Well, to be honest, of course I'm being honest. I'm honest with everything I say. But I said this to someone else. I notice sometimes when I'm talking to someone, well, to be honest, I think that, do I lie half the time? But this time I'm being honest. You could draw this a couple different ways, but now that price data has continued to evolve, our line of thinking may want to evolve. So what I would say is we're sort of still under descending resistance here. Okay, you see how I have this drawn? Let me make this black. Make this a little thicker. That's what she said. She needs it a little. Okay. My mind's in the gutter. My mind is in the gutter a quarter of the day. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what somebody says. My mind's in the gutter all the time. The other interesting thing you have going on here, I was going to draw an ascending area of support like this, which you can do, but my eye kind of catches something a little bit different. I see a little bit more of a rounding bottom here. See a little bit more of a rounding bottom. Doesn't need to be perfect, but the idea is, in general, we're just sort of rounding our bottom here, coiling up and waiting to break out, right? Could we break down to lower levels? Sure. But kind of coinciding with the rest of my view of the market, I think eventually we're going to break up, and I have all these areas of resistance that you can take a look at here. Of course, there is another area of resistance right at about 33 cents, but I didn't want to clutter up the chart too much. Let's take a look at price indicators. You can see the mat now. Keep in mind, this is a higher time frame on the weekly, and this is one of the stronger charts in crypto. Last I looked, Fetch AI was in the mid to low 100 market cap ranking. Depending what your fundamental, coupled with technical view of this. Now, again, this is in the AI space. If this thing makes a serious run and gets up into the top 50 or top 40 crypto market cap ranking, no reason this thing can't continue to outperform. This is a beautiful chart here. MACD is starting to curl up. You can see the histogram wants to turn green. Stochastic RSI is positioned down. It's trying to flatten out here, regain momentum and regain footing. I like to see it's above 20 though, and the RSI is still oversold at 47. If we go on a lower time frame, let's go on a 3-day. I like looking at the 3-day. Let's get this off. It's a little distracting. Here you can really see that ascending support. See this here? This is holding up real nice at the moment. I like that. How's the RSI looking? Trying to see if the RSI is building strength. There's a lot of common things that I'll look for in charts. When you chart a lot, like when this is your hobby and you genuinely enjoy it and you spend a lot of time doing technical analysis, certain commonalities begin to come up in charts and you just get a gut feel for it, okay? So here in a lower time frame, what I'm looking for is not necessarily bullish divergence on the RSI, but exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing, I wouldn't call this bullish divergence in the RSI because price is moving up. That's because it's not bullish divergence in the RSI. But as price has continued to move up, I like to see that the relative strength index, strength is building in the price. This is also close to a positive cross on this 3-day. I want to see the stochastic RSI remain above 20. That would be key for me. But yeah, it looks like we're just a nice, healthy consolidation pattern. And I believe, especially once we start to see some bullish momentum pick up in Bitcoin, this is one of these stronger charts. Again, I'm not super familiar with the project itself. Just looking at the chart, it's one of the stronger charts in crypto. That was weird. Got an odd pain in my elbow. Right at the surgical point. Right at the point of surgery. I don't know what that's all about. Let's see. What else do we have here? You're welcome, Black Oil. Glad I can help out. Your family won't talk to you. Yeah, your family won't talk to you, and yet everyone is capable of making their own investment decisions, right? So if you're being serious, that's on them, and I wouldn't let that get to you, my friend. Be diligent, be patient, and try to get unemotional with your investments. Take a break. It looks like you're going to. But don't allow that stuff to create a negative headspace for you. We're all adults here. You know, just said this to someone a couple weeks ago. I was having a conversation. We're all adults here. So at the end of the day, everybody owns their own personal financial decisions. You can encourage someone to get into something, but if someone is willing to throw their own money at something, that's their financial decision, not yours. So you got to get that out of your mind. And the onus isn't on you, my friend. You got to, you know, it's unfair. It's unfair. And hopefully some time away will clear your head. Yes, Ned, we're going to take a look. I'm just trying to catch up with comments. DJ, you know, it's interesting you bring this up. I am not working on any custom indicators. I actually don't know how to create custom indicators, but I do think it would be very interesting to create custom indicators. I do know that I use TechDev52's, the hell are they called? Top gauge candles, you can see here. I'm not going to bring it on, that's proprietary information, but he has some top gauge candles that he uses. He has some custom indicator. Tony, the Bitcoin Bull, who I had on this live stream a couple months ago, who will be coming on again at some point. I'm going to re-invite him. He has a couple custom indicators that I use that I appreciate, some trend lines and candlesticks. I don't know how you create them, but I would be interested in creating my own. I absolutely would. I'm just not working on it at the moment. Put that math brain to work. I agree. I should be able to come up with something, right? Who is CBG? I only watch Crypto Dolphin God. Yeah, so you caught my new intro video, huh? I'm like a dolphin, like a fucking dolphin. Now, some people this day and age may want to transform themselves into a dolphin. You guys ever see that South Park episode where Randy turns into a dolphin? Kathleen, welcome in. I'm glad to see you here, Enforcer. Look at this. Look at this. 12 likes, 12 viewers. So you must be doing your work here. Just smoke a ton of weed and you won't care what the market is doing. There's some truth to that. There's absolutely some truth to that. I actually agree with you. There's a lot of truth in that. VRA. Apparently we looked at this before. Okay, well, I don't know what the hell is going on there. Let's see. I got a couple more TA questions. Okay. So, this is interesting. As you can see, this is great. I'm glad you brought this up. Ned, you're the one that brought this up. Thank you for bringing up this chart. Now, because this is a blank chart and I brought this up like this, you can see the pre-existing lines are everything that we've spoken about before. I have my green support, my red resistance. I could have drawn out more red resistance, but didn't want to clutter the chart. There's another area around 0.8 cents. But what's interesting to see here, you can see at the time we charted it, look what happened. We had a falling wedge, okay? Falling wedge. We broke out of the falling wedge, but it really didn't do much, right? And this is a weekly chart. We sort of faded, Look what we did. We never re-entered the falling wedge, guys. Now, if you took to heart what I said and agreed with what I've spoken to on this channel so many times in the past, then what you would have realized is quite often when we break out of these falling wedges, we like to come down and backtest support. It's not until we re-enter the falling wedge that it starts to turn potentially bearish, okay? In this case, you had all of this opportunity. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You had 7 weeks. You had all of this price action riding, okay? It was riding the downward resistance. There's no riding going on here. Oh, we were riding the downward resistance here, okay? So you had 7 weeks to accumulate, and look what happened. We had this monumental break. Now, the technical target, as you can see, I have drawn here from the point of break, which is actually right here, would bring us all the way up to about 0.97 cents. And you can see the way I got that was from the bottom to the top here at the top of the formation. Technically, you're supposed to draw it from the point of breakout. So whether it's here or here, I'll leave it right there. So we might not finish going up until this area up here. But if I was entering a trade here, I certainly would be taking some profits here, depending upon... I would be taking some profits here. But I have your areas of resistance clearly laid out. Something we can continue to take a look at if you'd like. Look at the price indicators ticking up. Now, on a lower market cap like this, don't be surprised if we do get some sort of a significant sell event, though. So even if we come up high here, all the way to here, we could fall all the way down to roughly this area, at another area of price confluence, right? But again, it's all about forming those higher highs and higher lows, right? So even if we came up to here, you know, you got these 2 higher highs and 3 higher lows, right? This is some ugly drawing going on, but you get the general concept, okay? There was one other chart. There was one other chart I wanted to take a look that was brought up here. SLP. SLP. You know, real quick, before we chart, this is another one we've taken a look at, and this is one of these dumpster fires I know that I would have spoken to on this channel. I did a live stream on Sunday, and I don't know if you guys were here for this Sunday night, but I noticed the uptick in views. Like if I go to my dashboard here, you know, typically I have about 5,000 people viewing, and typically, you know, I know what my typical views are on a live stream, and I was about a good 30% higher, 20% higher, not that much higher, 20, 30, but still it was noticeable. I think that has less to do with the time that I live streamed. I think it has a lot more to do with the positive momentum we were seeing in the market. And the reason I say that is for twofold. One, it's going to be interesting to see once we do see some significant follow through in price, how many people tune into the channel. I'll be very anxiously awaiting that. But secondly, I think the other thing it highlights, to the degree you guys are taking to heart a lot of what I'm saying, it's going to pay off for you guys. Remaining diligent and engaged. Just trying to stay informed and engaged in the market when it's less exciting, it's going to benefit you. What you don't want to do is just be engaged and interested in the market when things are starting to go ballistic. These are the times where you have to be as informed and educated as ever. You have to stay very in tune with what's going on in the market, and I promise you it will pay off. There are a few things I promise, but I promise you it will pay off. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a rise here. You can see the volume kicking up. Not too much exciting going on in this chart. Again, there isn't anything I'm really going to hit on in this chart because we need to break a lot of resistance here that we've spoken about before. But we're seeing some nice, if you bought down here at 0.1 cents, you know, you've already done 70% gain roughly. So nice trade, you know. But for me, you know, if I was in this thing, you know, if I was looking to trade it, and I entered somewhere down here, depending how risk averse I'd want to be, I would definitely be taking profits at this level, okay, right at this level, and descending resistance. I would be taking profits all into this zone, and if we cleared descending resistance, I would let the profits rise, and I would just keep rising. I would keep increasing my stop loss limit. So basically, and probably as low a market cap as this thing likely is, if I had, let's say, let me show you. Actually, let me illustrate this to you guys who trade. Very important to remain unemotional about your trades. So let's say I entered down here and I had a stop loss like here, okay, just below the line of support. Well, now that we've risen, maybe I'm putting a stop loss, depending how aggressive I want to be, maybe I'm putting a stop loss here, right? Let's look at a 3-day. It might be more, maybe I'm putting a stop loss here, and then the next day I'm rising it here. And I keep increasing it, right? So all the while, what's happening is I am increasing my potential, I am decreasing my potential downside and increasing the likelihood that I'll be successful and ultimately make a profit, right? Even if I get stopped out, right? Even if I didn't sell anything and I got stopped out here, you're still talking about a 50% gain on the trade, right? You have to remain diligent on those trades. That's all I would say about this chart. Juan, you have a question on XDC. Do you think they could be a big player in the future? I'm not as privy to the fundamentals, but we can take a look at the, I know Ncash Official is big on that project, but that's one that I'm not as privy on the fundamentals, just the technicals look awesome. You can see this blue line was my rough expectation. This is on the 3-day. It pretty much panned out because this wick, you can see the wick barely missed this yellow zone here. These are what I call my golden buy zones, okay? So barely missed there. It'll be interesting. If we get another downturn, I'm leaning towards this. I actually feel 50-50 on it. I feel 50-50 regarding if we bottomed here and we're just going to continue kind of going higher, or if we're just going to get one more retest to get in this area. I personally, based on price confluence and what I've spoken to in the past on this chart, I would be a heavy buyer in this region. Anything between 4 and 4.6 cents, I would buy the shit out of. Just because, again, it doesn't have to do with anything fundamental. I'm not privy to that, but what I am privy to, that's the word of choice for this chart, what I am privy to is this chart, and this is a very beautiful chart. This is a project that has increased monumentally in market cap size relative to other projects. You can see it's up at 52 last I looked. It's at 53, okay? At one point it was ahead of Caspa, although Caspa was lower. This was in the 40s. It couldn't sustain itself. But still, it moved from, that roughly I think it was all the way back at like the 120 area, and it jumped all the way, last I had looked in the 100 range, and it's all the way up at 53. Is this refreshed? Yeah, still at 53. So, yeah, in Caspa, getting closer and closer to really, once it does make a significant move here, I think it's going to be right at VeChain at number 40. It's going to take out Optimism, Arbitrum, and Near Protocol. It looks like it's going to take out Near Protocol very shortly. Yeah, that's what I see on XDC, though. What other questions? I'll take one more charting question if there is, and I'm going to sign out. I have to work on that Bitcoin video and get that out by tomorrow. So, yeah, if there isn't anything else pressing, I'll let you guys go. Didn't know that I had anything else to share. The reason I had retweeted this, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. The reason I retweeted this, I saw some form of engagement on this. I got a notification. I don't know if it was a bot or what, but someone liked this post or retweeted it. And I was like, this brings back some good memories. Tech Dev was engaging with me here and being very supportive, which I appreciated. So, all right, guys, I'm going to sign off. You guys have a good rest of the day, wherever you're at, morning, afternoon, evening, night. And I will be back tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. Ooh, tomorrow is leg day. So I will be back tomorrow. Would love to see a 20% Bitcoin pump. It will happen inevitably. Real quick, it's hard to talk about boring markets, but you still have to remain in it to win it. Tweeted this out this morning. I was in Twitter Spaces real quick. Scott Melker, you guys know this guy, the Wolf of All Streets. He had said on Twitter Spaces, I expect Bitcoin to not do anything for quite a while. And my basic comment was, this sounds like herd mentality. That's what pretty much everyone is expecting, and for Bitcoin to top in late 2025, because we got that 4-year cycle maxi, yellow brick road. Clearly, everyone's going to be super successful. Bitcoin's going to go to 250,000 in the year 2025, and we're all going to cash out. We'll all be rich and own an island, right? But I'd offer you to look at the markets differently and ask yourself, should I be looking at things in a silo environment just based on a 4-year cycle chart? Or are there other considerations to be made in parallel with that that may alter your line of thinking, as it has for me? So just something to keep in mind. And why I remain convicted that we're going to top a lot earlier than people are expecting. So until next time, everybody, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. I will see you right back here tomorrow around the same time. Take care, everybody.